through someone, and they believed that he was working through George Floyd, and that whole situation, and with Black Lives Matter and all of that, it brought more attention to Juneteenth. So this year, people were more aware of it than ever. And so you see, I'm very proud that the city of Durham County, the city of Raleigh, Chapel Hill, Carrboro had already designated it as a holiday. So all of those people, employees at those municipalities had Friday off. So some people, yes, it came as it was like, whoa, what's happening? But for others, it's been a long time coming.
Well, you emphasized the point that this is going to be an opportunity for a lot of people to learn about Juneteenth and about the events surrounding it and the impacts it's had and how it fits in with institutional racism and why did it take so long for the effort to take hold in Texas and the Emancipation Proclamation and what states were included and what states weren't and why, what was the distinction. Just a whole opportunity to learn about Juneteenth, about the Emancipation Proclamation, about slavery, and people.
May I interrupt you right here? And I have to say, as we talk about, everybody's talking about this critical race theory and all of those things. How do you when your child asks you what is Juneteenth? When your child asks the teacher what is Juneteenth, how can they teach them what Juneteenth is about without talking about slavery?
Well,
I just don't see how it can be done.
It's interesting when you talk about that critical race theory question, where some people are putting forward legislation that says you can't teach anything that makes people feel sad or bad. And so I guess you can't talk about the Nagasaki and Hiroshima dropping of the bomb. You can't talk about September 11th and the blowing up of the towers in New York, the World Trade Towers. You can't talk about World War II. You can't talk about Nazi concentration camp. I guess, all of that's critical race theory. All of those events played disproportionately in one way or another on a race or people of nationality were involved. I mean, I don't know who was supposed to be thinking this through, but they've certainly been misinformed, uninformed, or they're trying to misinform us. I don't know, want us to continue to be misinformed and not really look at, recognize, and be responsive to our history.
No, and so I think that when they started talking about critical race theory, it was really just a black and white thing that they were talking about. And but I just don't see. But because Juneteenth is now a holiday, it has to be taught, and people have to learn about it. But it's not just our school children. There are still adults who are just now starting to understand what Juneteenth is about.
Well, again,
and even at the event yesterday, I had people walk up to me, more than one, to say thank you. And, I knew nothing about Juneteenth until you started doing it. So for that, I'm very, very happy. And it's just we now have to do more in educating people.
Well, this is an opportunity for more people now to be involved. More opportunity for organizations and businesses to educate their employees and have events centered around it, both for family and for employees, and get people to recognize this part of history, to understand and learn from it how to go forward better in the future, and to be more sensitive and understanding of how our past affects what we do and what we think. So Phyllis Coley, we got to thank you so much for hanging in there and continuing, and I know you'll continue the efforts as we look at the statewide holiday observance, not just the municipalities you named, and we'll go forward with your outstanding events continuing in Durham and in the other surrounding cities. So again, thank you so much for all the work and commitment you've shown. And talk to us real quickly about Spectacular Magazine, your platform, and where people can get more information for upcoming events.
Yeah, so Spectacular Magazine has been around since 2004. In 2017, of course, it's a print medium. In 2017, we went to total digital. So we are a digital platform now, and you can find us at Spectacular Mag, M-A-G, short for magazine.com. I also, Larry, would like to say that I am available and would love to come. If anyone would like to invite me to come and speak about Juneteenth, I would welcome the opportunity. And all of that information is available on our website. We cover everything. We cover news. We cover sports, really strong in sports, lifestyle, local news, national news. You can find it on our website, but also we have a calendar of events. We'll show you not just only spectacular events, but events from the community, and we invite the community to please go to our website and upload your event so it can be on our calendar.
All right, well, you heard it from Phyllis Coley, editor of Spectacular Magazine and one of the prime promoters of Juneteenth.
WFXC and WFXK is Foxy 107 104. Munn, Raleigh.
The Triangle's best mix of R&B and the new home of the Ricky Smiley Morning Show.
We are Foxy 107 104.
Good morning, and welcome to Sunday Morning with Reverend Al Sharpton. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, live this Father's Day Sunday morning, June 20th, 2021. And we pause, as we do every Sunday morning, for this unique 1-hour national conversation heard in every state and every region of the country to review and discuss the issues and events of the week that passed and the forecasting and weighing in on the week that is beginning and where we stand on it. A lot to talk about this morning. Let me start by saying that we want to hear you talk about your definition, not somebody else's, not what you read, not some quotation you Google up, but your definition of what makes a good father. And you may want to shout out a good father. 1-877-544-6290, 1-877-544-6290. Secondly, it was yesterday the first federal holiday of Juneteenth Day. And I frankly had mixed emotions. I said it yesterday at our Saturday Action Rally of National Action Network. I said it on my MSNBC show last night. At one level, I was glad to see the national recognition, long overdue. Certainly it is a day this country ought to mark. No question about it. But at the same time, I had a real problem with the hypocrisy when it was broadcast loudly and consistently that the Senate had voted unanimously to make Juneteenth a holiday. And this is the same Senate that we cannot get 10 Republicans on the record to say they will vote for the Voting Rights Bill, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, or the John Lewis voting bill. So my question was, is it easy for you now in this climate to vote for what happened with race 158, 60 years ago and duck what's going on with race right now? I mean, do you really think we are going to go for that? And I think that that is my conflicting feelings. So don't get me wrong, I think that we must deal with the history of what it is and what it is not, and what was done to our people and how long, and finally where we were 156 years ago, when finally the general came in and announced that slavery was over in Texas, and this was the last state that announced and freed those that were enslaved, which were our people. But don't forget, when Granger came in and announced it, they had to enforce it, they had to back it up, and we went to 100 years of official Jim Crow, and we're still dealing with the remnants of voter denial, of police brutality. So I think the proper way to celebrate Juneteenth is to commemorate it by action and by our pressing the issues of today to make the same government that finally sent General Granger into Galveston, Texas 156 years ago, that same government, that same Senate ought to vote to make sure that the federal government protects our right to vote and holds policemen accountable for the killing of unarmed men. So those are two things that concern me. This coming Friday, the 25th, in Minneapolis, we will see we will have the sentencing of Derek Chauvin, who's the former Minneapolis police officer who lynched by knee George Floyd. His sentencing is this Friday. We'll be in Minneapolis. We've been back and forth on the phone, National Action Network, Legal Defense Fund, Urban League, all of us, with senators, both Republican and Democrat, trying to deal with this issue of getting the Voting Rights Act. Senate Bill 1, John Lewis bill, and the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. Joe Manchin, who's had a couple of conversations with us, comes out with his own compromise stuff that includes stuff I don't agree with, like voter ID. But even then, before we could say anything, and Stacey Abrams played the chess game and said, okay, pass it through the Senate, I can support it. And I was with Stacey Abrams yesterday in New York. They had me presented with the first Harry Belafonte Social Justice Award down at the Tribeca Film Festival, and we talked about it. And I thought she made a very important move. Fine, that's what you can get through, let's go with it. 4, get it out of mouth. Mitch McConnell says we're not voting for anything, no compromise. So, commemorate, celebrate Juneteenth, but don't let your guard down and don't get off the battle line, the battlefield. Don't lower your weapon, because they're trying to undo everything that was done. Georgia has removed 100,000 names from the voter registration rolls. So as we have our festivities, and we should, let us remember what they are trying to do now. When we look at in Portland, where police officers resigned to respond to a member of the police team is indicted for how they dealt with the protest last year. So you got about 50 officers assigned to the Portland Police Department crowd control team resigned one day after the team's officers were indicted for allegedly using his department-issued baton to assault a protester. 50 police resigned because they indicted one policeman that used a baton during the protest. That's why I'm saying you need George Floyd, but we need federal law. These people think to question them. Well, I'd rather quit than be questioned. You're not above the law. You enforce the law. You are not the law. At the same time, first reason. Now, we got a lot we need to deal with beyond that. But let's start with people can't shoot guns that they can't get. And there's no movement on these manufacturers. They're not exposed to any kind of accountability. They don't make guns in our communities. There's no gun manufacturing plants in our communities. One, you need to cut off the guns. Secondly, we need to, in our community, get this gangster thug mentality out of our kids. The insult of acting like being a thug or a street person is synonymous with blackness, is insulting and belittling and racist. So if I'm not acting street, I'm not acting black. Blackness is multiplicity of things, from academicians to scientists to artists to theologians, all of that. But the depiction that the culture and the media and the entertainment world has tried to frame our kids, that our history was of thuggery and drug selling and all of that, and they romanticize this. So we have a lot of work to do. All right, I'm going to go to the phones, 1-877-544-6290. I want to talk about all the issues that we've raised, many that you may want to raise, and give a shout out to a father and tell me what makes a good father. There are black men in our community that have been good fathers. My father left when I was about 10, but I thank God for other fathers that became father figures for me, like Bishop F.D. Washington, Reverend William Jones, Reverend Jesse Jackson, and of course, my surrogate father for life was the Godfather Soul James Brown. So I had fathers, and I learned from them. I learned what to do and what not to do. Sometimes a father can teach you what not to do. And I've reconciled with my father. And I understand that all of us have weaknesses and all of us have shortcomings. And your job is not to judge your father. Your job is to learn from his strengths, avoid his weaknesses, and build beyond. So you can give your Father's Day definition, give a shout out, and also give your definition of what we ought to be doing on Juneteenth. So, all right, we have a lot of callers. I'm going to try to come to everybody. 1-877-544-6290. By way of announcements, don't forget this evening, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and every Saturday and Sunday, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live on MSNBC. Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, every Saturday and Sunday at 5 p.m. And you know, with Joy Reid on and me on and all, they watch how many people's watching. So watch Tell your family and friends to watch. I'm going to dig deep today into what Father's Day is and isn't. I'm going to get us ready for the Juneteenth follow-up and for the sentencing of the killer of George Floyd this Friday and a new case of police brutality in Hawaii. So make sure you watch and support Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. Let's go to the phones. Let's start in Houston, Texas, Magic 102.1 with Renee. Renee, you're on Sunday Morning with Al Sharpton.
Good morning, Reverend Sharpton. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Happy Father's Day. Happy Juneteenth to everyone.
Thank you.
You know, I share your ambivalence about Juneteenth. I grew up in Texas, and until a few years ago, blacks outside of Texas didn't even know what Juneteenth was. They thought I was saying June 10th. But I'm really suspicious when you can get Mitch McConnell, Ted Cruz, and the rest of the Republicans to vote yes on something. They don't have to give me Juneteenth. I celebrate Juneteenth anyway, whether they make it a holiday or not. But they want us out in the street doing the electric slide while they sit back and pass all these voter suppressive laws to keep us from having our freedom in the voters' booth. They want us on electoral plantations instead of cotton plantations. And if they don't want slavery taught in the schools, they don't have a problem with them knowing that they let us be free. And as far as the police brutality, police were started as slave patrols, so it all goes together. Yep. So I thank you for allowing me to make that point.
And let me say this, as you're there, Renee, at the same time that they voted this week unanimously to make Juneteenth a federal holiday, the governor of Texas in your state, Governor Abbott, signed a law that you on critical race theory, you don't have to teach about slavery or things based on race or gender if it makes you uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
I mean, absolutely ridiculous.
Stop doing things that make us uncomfortable, and then we don't have to teach the things you do that make us uncomfortable.
It makes me uncomfortable if you don't tell the whole story of what y'all did to us. But thank you for your call and kicking us off. Let's go to Rocky Mountain, North Carolina, Foxy 104.3. Brother Moselle, you're on Sunday Morning with Al Sharpton.
Yes, it ain't Rocky Mountain. It's Rocky Mountain, North Carolina.
Rocky Mount. Okay, y'all put it down. I've been to Rocky Mount. They got Rocky Mountain on. I know better. They don't know better. I got to teach them. You know these youngins.
Yes, sir. You know, I'm on the way to Durham to see my daughter who's being a good father, who's spending the day with him. But I want you to touch on Joe Manchin. Is he going to spoil Joe Biden's presidency by acting like a Republican? Touch on that for me.
Well, I think that he is certainly, and thank you for your call, he's certainly in a red state. And I think the best way I can say this is that he is trying to keep a Republican state electing him as a Democrat. And as he continues to do this, it's going to lead toward us not being able to get anything done unless we go around the filibuster. I keep saying the filibuster needs to be changed or eliminated. Otherwise, we're going to keep going with this 50-50 tie vote, and if Joe Manchin doesn't go with it, you don't have 50, you got 49. And that's going to set up for the Republicans to be able to say we got nothing done, and they win the midterm elections next year and possibly go on to 24. That's the danger of us allowing this to keep going the way it's going. And you right on it, Brother Moselle, and be safe traveling to your family on Father's Day. Let's go to Wilson, North Carolina, Foxy 104.3 to Cordy. Cordy.
Good morning, Reverend Al, and thank you for taking my call.
Good morning.
Reverend Al, what make a good father to me is putting God first.
All
I
right.
used to be better with my father because he wasn't there. But when I read in the scriptures in Psalms, it said, when your father forsakes you, God is always there with you.
That's right.
And once I understood that, I began to pray and talk to God with the Holy Spirit, and God will lead you. So kids of us who don't have a father, always remember, get your Bible, God is your father.
Georgia said, okay, fine, you can vote, blacks can vote, but we got a voting test. So you tell me how many jelly beans is in that jar. Oh, you didn't pass that test, you can't vote. Mississippi had another law. So these court cases are the test, the impediments they put in your way to vote. They don't deny you to vote, but you got to pass these tests, or you got to live in a certain area, or you can't have Sunday souls to the polls. So they are very shrewdly saying, we're not interfering with your right to vote, but you're not dealing with the requirements, or we're setting up voting booths that are 10 miles from your house. Those are the things we're in court about. Thank you for your call. That's why we need this Senate Bill 1 passed, and that's why we need the John Lewis bill passed. Let's go to Christine in Manhattan, New York, 107.5 WBLS. Christine.
Yes, hello, Reverend Nash Sharper.
Good morning.
I only met you one time, you came to my church, but I want to talk about I never really, my father left when I was young, but my grandmother's brother took over, and then he died when I was like 9 years old. But the only father I know is the big man. He's been my father, he's been the father to me since, my uncle passed away. But anyway, and then I want to talk about the George Floyd case. This guy Derek, he asking for a shorter sentence. I don't think he deserves a shorter sentence. He should deserve a long-term sentence. He should get a life because he murdered this man for absolutely nothing. Right. The man didn't even know about the counterfeit. He didn't know he had a counterfeit bill. And one more thing, yesterday, look at what happened yesterday in the Bronx. Them guys to get these guns off the street, man, because it was 2 kids involved in this shootout. They could have got hurt. Thank God that they didn't.
No, it's scary, it's frightening, it's disgraceful. That's why I'm talking about both police behavior and these guns on the street. And yes, we got to get the guns off the street, and we've got to change the psychology of people that are there. Just because the guns are there don't mean you need to use them. So we need to do both because this is ridiculous. When you saw the video, this man in broad daylight in the Bronx gonna come to shoot somebody and shoots over 2 toddlers.
2 kids.
I mean, how ruthless and insensitive can you be? And we can't normalize that, Christine. We can't act like, well, what happened today? Because once you normalize that kind of savagery, then you break down what human society is about. We all ought to be outraged about this. But thank you for your call. Let me go to Joe in Brooklyn, New York, 107.5 WBLS. Joe?
Good morning, Reverend Sharp. This is Joe Gonzalez calling. I just want to tell you that, quite frankly, I'm not impressed with this Juneteenth holiday. To my mind, Reverend Al, and happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you.
I would suggest that it's a kind of empty symbolism that we've seen before. You're old enough to remember 35 years ago when the federal government gave us Martin Luther King's birthday as a holiday. Very quickly, it became heavily commercialized. Memorial Day was a holiday that was supposed to be for people to go to cemeteries and honor dead veterans. Today, it's a picnic and a barbecue day. My feeling is that in short order, Juneteenth will be a day to go shopping. We already seen people selling Juneteenth clothes, and you look at the label on the inside, Reverend Al, made in China. How did that happen? Okay, so we have to be very guarded that this is an opportunity where people are going to try to make money off of us.
Absolutely.
We're not even taking those jobs.
No, and let me say this, Joe. That is why, thank you for your call. That is why I say we've got to take these holidays and interpret it. That's why Martin Luther King Day, we always make the elected officials come and deal with policy and legalities at National Action Network, and we do the breakfast in Washington. They're more to deal with legislation, because we should have that day be a day that they interpret, because we had to fight to get it. And Juneteenth is why I'm saying we have to deal with the race of today, not sit around. They'll be selling barbecue rib sandwiches next year for Juneteenth and Kool-Aid and make a whole lot of money. It is ridiculous. All right, let's take a break. I hear the music. I'll be back to the phones right after this break. 1-877-544-6290. 1-877-544-6290. Sunday morning with Al Sharpton, live on this Father's Day. We'll be right back.
In an emergency, you want to be seen. With 7 WakeMed emergency departments, one just for kids, access is easy. And for your added convenience, wait times are at wakemed.org. Access, convenience, emergency care. Who would have thought?
Just announced, cruising is coming back, and so is the Tom Joyner Foundation Fantastic Voyage 20 in 2021. We're sailing from Miami on November 6th and going to some beautiful ports of call like St. Martin, St. Kitts, and San Juan. Call 214-495-1963 to book your cabin while they're still available because the rush is on. Theme nights, comedy shows, seminars, and non-stop activities are back. Go to blackamericaweb.com or call 214-495-1963 to speak to one of our booking specialists.
Do you hear My Computer Career ads and think, I don't know anything about computers? You don't have to. Before starting, many graduates could turn a computer on and off, and that's it. Now they're IT pros. You could do it too. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. You can start your new life in as little as 4 months. Grants covering up to 53% of the costs are available to those who qualify. It's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career.
Now that everyone from teens to seniors can get a COVID-19 vaccine, we're planning our family reunion. I can't wait to finally hug them all. The vaccine is free everywhere in North Carolina, and more locations open every day. I took my shot so that I didn't miss this year's family reunion. Don't wait. Get yours today. To learn where you can schedule your COVID-19 vaccine, visit myspot.nc.gov. That's myspot.nc.gov.
I'm one of thousands of women with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that has spread to other parts of the body. I'm living in the moment and taking Ibrance, palbociclib.
Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for postmenopausal women or for men with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy.
Be in your moment. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com.
Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance for kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
If high ping takes you from first place to last place, you're not a bad gamer. You just need better internet. Get AT&T Fiber and get a ping rate under 11 milliseconds and unlimited data. With 20 times faster upload speeds, AT&T Fiber delivers a faster internet experience than cable. Limited availability in select areas. Call 1-877-ONLY-ATT. Speed comparison based on AT&T Internet 1000 wired upload connection speed. First major cable providers 1 gig service on the Freedom Caravan. For more information, text Freedom Ride to 797-979. Paid for by Black Voters Matter Fund. BlackVotersMatterFund.org.
I come to Dunkin' for something topped, toasty, and tasty. Because days like this deserve a toast. I can celebrate today with a bacon-topped avocado toast. It's got rich, creamy avocado. Or I can cheers to a grilled cheese melt filled with white cheddar and American cheese.